In this video, I'm going to tell you about what I think should be next for Games Workshop's Kill Team. So, Kill Team has been out for just shy of a month. As I'm recording this, when you see it, it will be longer than a month. I have to record this early-ish because I'm going to be at Gen Con in Indianapolis when this goes live, and so I won't be able to record, and it's a thing. But, you know, I'll probably post some stuff on, I don't know, Instagram, and probably some other places as well about stuff that's happening at Gen Con. At one point during Gen Con, I'm going to stop by the Games Workshop booth, I'm sure, and see what's going on there, see if there's someone I can chat to, talk about things, that kind of stuff. And I expect probably there will be some demos probably of Kill Team going on there as well, as it is, you know, basically kind of their newest title. So I've been thinking about Kill Team a lot lately. I've been working on other stuff as well, but I've been thinking about Kill Team a lot because back in, let's see here, back on the 12th of August, they released, about exactly a month ago, they released an article on Warhammer Community talking about, well, what's coming next? And they're vague. They're basically talking about how in the next quarter, October, November, December, you're going to get, it says new war zone, and then it says new setting, new models, new kill zone. So there's a lot of, that's vague. It's pretty vague, but there's a lot of talk about what does that mean exactly? Does that mean we're getting another box along the same size and scale as Octarius? Are we just getting some terrain? Like, what's going on? And so I've got some ideas, I guess. I'm going to try to differentiate these ideas a little bit between what may happen or what will probably happen and what maybe should happen. And we'll see how these things work out. We'll see if the old psychic melon here is actually, you know, still firing on all cylinders or whether it's been blunted. So they're talking about, they say literally, new war zone, new setting, new models, new kill zone. That's what it says in the thing. Now, when we hear the word kill zone, I generally think terrain box. So I think we can probably expect a new terrain box, much like the the Kill Team war zones or kill zones or whatever the heck they've been called in the past. They've had these boxes that have got a mat in it and some terrain. And so I have a suspicion we'll see probably one of those a quarter going forward. So expect it sometime between October and the end of the year. There'll be some sort of new terrain thing that, so, you know, in this situation, if they're going to make an actual kill zone out of the stuff from the Octarius box, it would be all that orc stuff and the board, and that would be predominantly it. Probably some rules for that stuff, maybe special rules potentially, but it would be a box. Last time I looked at one of those boxes, I think they cost about $90 or $100 American, and it's, you know, it gives you basically a full, you know, I was going to say a full table of terrain, but we're talking about a 22 by 30 inch spot, so it's not a big table, but a full board of terrain so you can play your games of Kill Team on it. And I could see them definitely doing stuff, getting into more Xenos stuff, getting into, I don't know, things that would work well with Tyranids. I could see that. I could see stuff that starts to work well maybe with Tau or maybe even Eldar / Dark Eldar. And, you know, we'll see how that goes. But that's a pretty low-hanging fruit as far as when they say new kill zone. We generally know what new kill zone means, and we generally know what new models mean too, but it depends on kind of how those models are going to be produced, not the actual physical manufacturer, but what kind of models are we talking about? So after the compendium was released and came out at the same time that the Kill Team box set, the Octarius box, came out, you got basically rules, and when I say basically, I do mean basically, you got basic rules for pretty much all, well, not all, but many of the forces that are available to play Kill Team with. You will notice that some are missing. I believe it's Euclidean Far Striders or whatever, and also the Gellerpox Infected. Both of those were in a box that was sold back in 2018 or early 2019, and it was called Rogue Trader, and it was a Kill Team specific kind of play it by your, it was a game, and it was designed to be played that way, and they had, you know, normal Kill Team stats for it, obviously, and those are no longer available to play in the new version because they're not in the compendium. So yeah, so if you want to keep playing those guys, you don't have any rules for them because the compendium didn't list them. Also, Blackstone Fortress had a kind of pseudo chaos group called the Servants of the Abyss, and we no longer have rules for those as well, because those also weren't in the compendium. Now, to kind of just touch on those before I get on to the actual new models part, what they should do, in my opinion, because people already have those armies, they've already got them, is that they should, just to garner some goodwill, because there's been some gnashing of teeth and rending of garments with some of the release things going on here with the new edition, they should be putting those out on Warhammer Community as free PDFs. So if you already own, the Gellerpox and you've painted them all up and you've been having fun playing with them, or the Servants of the Abyss, or the Far Striders, Star Striders, whatever they're called, you could just be like, here's the new stuff for them, so that you can build kill teams from those models that you already have, and there you go, you're welcome. And that would probably help. What they will probably do is, instead, because you already own those models, they're most likely going to put them into, if they release them at all, an issue of White Dwarf. So, they've already got the money for this, for the stuff that you bought. So if you want to play it again, I could see it going into White Dwarf. I would hope they would make it a free PDF, but very possibly those armies, if they do decide to actually come up with rules for them, which they really should, because there are people out there who are sitting on those models, not physically because they're pointy. They definitely should be making some Kill Team 2021 stats for those models. And hopefully, again, these have nothing to do with new models, but it at least would kind of cover the old models, and I think that would be a good idea. They should definitely do that. Now, new models. A lot of people have been taking that term new models and saying, okay, well, what they're going to be doing, and I thought this at first as well. I'm not going to lie. My thought was like, okay, so we've already got the compendium rules for, let's say, Space Marines, where you can pretty much build a single fire team, and that's your entire kill team, and they're all pretty much kind of the same, and you have a lot of different choices to choose from. You can go all Scouts, all Reavers, all Heavy Primaris, all regular Primaris, that kind of stuff. But there's not a lot of, you don't have a lot of other choices like you do with, let's say, the Veteran Guardsmen, or with the Orc Commandos. In there, you've got spotters and medics and snipers and demolitions and comms and all that kind of stuff, and you don't have that stuff in the compendium, as I've mentioned in the past. Ciao, if you hadn't seen that. So the idea was, okay, well, they're going to release a new box of, let's say, Space Marines, and it will be, you'll have all these new Space Marine models, but each of them will be kind of designed to be a demo guy, a sniper, maybe. I don't know. Are there sniper rifles for Space Marines? Maybe, I guess. Why not? A medic, which would be apothecary, that kind of stuff. So you'd have all of that. But as I started thinking about it more and more, I really don't think that's actually what they're going to do. They may. Don't get me wrong, they may. If it was me, and I was Mr. Workshop, and I was running things over there, what I would do is I would start to kind of follow along in the footsteps that we've already started kind of stumbling down with the release of the Octarius box. In that, we don't have two normal forces in there. We have two secondary, if not maybe tertiary forces. Now, what I mean by that is, it's not Imperial Guard versus Orcs. It's Veteran Guardsmen, aka Death Korps of Krieg, versus Orc Commandos, which are kind of a special, outside of the realm of what Orcs are. You could technically have, an Orc group and an Orc Commando group, and they are two separate, rule sets. They're not the same. Partially because the Orc Commandos, just like the Veteran Guardsmen, are not actually in the compendium. So, yeah, they're kind of subsets. And if Games Workshop is smart, what they're going to do at some point is release 40K rules for both of those squads, for lack of a better word, so that you can now take those models and bring them into 40K. And going forward, rather than making new, let's say, regular Space Marine sculpts, or new regular Orc sculpts, or new regular anything sculpts, I think that they would be smart instead to start working on some stuff that's kind of, again, that secondary, tertiary sort of thing, that are custom made, designed for Kill Team. Case in point, why not an Inquisitorial Warband? Like, you could easily come up with a bunch of new models, Inquisitor, Retinue, whatever, the whole warband. You could start pulling from some of the books. I'm listening to Ravenor right now. Not right now, but as I'm working on hobby stuff, I've been listening to the Ravenor books. you could easily have Ravnor and little floaty, chair thing. You could have Kara Swole, you could have Harlan Nail, you could have all those different models and then set them up and they would be ready to go. People would buy them. Collectors would buy them. People who wanted to have an interesting warband would buy them. People who then knew that eventually there was going to be 40K rules to bring that squad just directly in and drop it into any one of their Imperial squads, whether it's going to be Space Marines, Grey Knights, Imperial Guard, you could just drop that squad in there. I mean, we have that already with Warhammer Underworlds. There's Age of Sigmar model rules for pretty much, I think, all of the Warhammer Underworld warbands. So you can take those models and drop them into Age of Sigmar. So there's precedent. And so if I had to guess, I would think that instead of just reinventing the wheel and putting new models out there. Now, again, Space Marines, you can always bet on them making more Space Marines because they sell the most. So there's a very good possibility you'll see maybe a just full-blown regular Space Marine type, very specific kill team release, maybe. But I would like to see, and I think it would be smart of them to do stuff that worked maybe alongside that. Maybe how about a kill team of Legion of the Damned? That would be pretty cool. All new sculpts. It's very specific roles for each of the different models that come in the box so that you can use them in Kill Team, but also you can take those same models and then drop them into Warhammer 40K. Think about it. I think it would be a smart idea for them to do that because there's, Lord knows, tons of stuff in the lore, the books, Black Library, all that stuff, for them to be able to pull from to make models that are not only going to be interesting and maybe hopefully fun in Kill Team, but then also potentially very useful and also fun in 40K if they also release 40K rules for them as well. But also the collectors are going to look at that stuff. I mean, if you look over the last couple of years at the different models that Games Workshop's been putting out, models that are coming directly from the books, and I'm talking the novels, Captain Ventress, the other ones that I can't remember the name of off the top of my head, but there's two of them in a box and it's a whole thing. Anyway, you see what I'm saying there. There is a huge amount of kind of story they could pull from to be able to do that and to release these models. If you still want to play with your normal Orcs or your normal Dark Eldar or your normal Grey Knights, you still have the rules in the compendium to do that. But rather than just going through and making another version of each of the compendium armies that just has new models and all that kind of stuff, which is vaguely useful, I think it would be smart of them to try to hit a bunch of the crowd favorites and create those as kill teams and really do something interesting with that. Case in point, they could start off real fast and again, garner goodwill by releasing a free PDF to take the Gaunt's Ghosts models, that is a kit that's been out for a couple of months now, and just give them a bunch of, kill team rules so that you could take that box, build them the way that they say, and then there are, a set of all the stats and all that stuff. So you could just take them, boom, drop them directly into Kill Team as its own army. That one I would definitely not put into White Dwarf because it would actually drive sales because you can still buy that kit. I can see why they would put the stuff for Rogue Trader into White Dwarf because you basically can't buy that stuff very easily anymore. So the people that already have it, you're getting them to buy the new rules so that they can use the models they already have. Making a free PDF would drive people to the store to actually buy the Gaunt's Ghost box because then they could use it in Kill Team. So are they going to release an Octarius size box for every quarter going forward? I don't think so. Again, I might be wrong, but I don't think so. I have a suspicion instead it will be a set of terrain, and then it will be probably a new setting, probably at least 2 boxes of new models, and they'll have all the stuff that you need in there, the cards with all the stats and all the information in there. And like I said, if they're smart, they'll also slip in there, also here's how you can put them into your 40K army if you want to go down that road as well. Making models that both the Kill Team folks and the 40K folks are interested in buying is not a dumb idea sales-wise, absolutely. Not only that, but if you're a person who likes to play both games, anytime that you are given the opportunity to buy a set of models that you can use in both games, you're generally looking at now I get to double dip. I buy once, but I get to use it in 2 games. That's pretty awesome. So again, it will help sales. I still think that some of those things that are kind of left behind, all the stuff from Blackstone Fortress, not just the Servants of the Abyss, but also like all the other little kind of models that they, some of them were in Commanders, some of them were not in Commanders, there was some of them in Elites, there was a bunch of different ones. Those models, I'm hoping eventually they'll release something. I think that they should be freebies over here on Warhammer Community. And I think that, frankly, the ones for Rogue Trader should be as well. But I would be not surprised to see the Rogue Trader and even the Servants of the Abyss from Blackstone Fortress. I would not be surprised to see those show up into the White Dwarf, and then very possibly show up in the Kill Team Annual 2022 or something like that, because they've done that in the past. So, I don't know why they wouldn't do it again in the future. So you have, hopefully, those options. Hopefully, we will be seeing new stuff that will be interesting. Like I said, I have a suspicion they're not just going to make new versions of the standard stuff that's already in the compendium. I think it would be smart of them to make interesting, different types of warbands, specifically pulling from the lore, from the books, from the Black Library stuff. I think people would buy that from a bunch of different angles. Collectors, Kill Team folks, 40K folks, especially if they make rules for 40K. So let me know in the comments down below what faction you'd like to see them make something. Some sort of little thing. Again, like I mentioned, Inquisitorial Warband and Legion of the Damned off the top of my head. But I don't absorb nearly as much of the lore as many of you probably do. I like to read some of the books, generally via listening, but I know that a lot of you have probably got some good ideas. So let me know out there what kind of other small Kill Team-sized groups that they could create that they haven't made models for in the past that they could create. Understand it would be very, very cool if you could then take those and also put those into Kill Team, because then a lot of people would be interested. I think that there's very possibly some interesting stuff that we'll see coming down the road, hopefully, with Kill Team. And when we do, then I think that, at least I know personally myself, I'll be a little bit more interested. At this point, I'm still not particularly too jazzed about using the compendium sets. But I do understand that this is the game that we've got and we're going forward with it. And there's parts of it that I'm not necessarily interested in. There's other parts that I think are pretty cool about the base game. And the two forces that we got in the Octarius box are really cool. So I'm looking forward to getting more of those, hopefully going forward. And God, I hope one of them is an Inquisitorial Warband, because I've kind of wanted Inquisitorial stuff in Kill Team for a really long time. Release an Octarius size box. It's raining out.